If you carry haste, you will attract chaos. If you carry resentment, you will attract pain. But if you carry gratitude, you will open the door to abundance. If you carry peace, you will create space for all the good things to come in. Welcome to Inner World Podcast. I am Liam Johnson, and the mission of this channel is to help you return inward, to deeply understand yourself, unlock inner wisdom, and build a meaningful life from the inside out. Today's topic is a special journey, a roadmap that is not simply about personal development, but a journey back to your original frequency, where true peace, wisdom, freedom, and authentic inner strength reside. In this series, we will walk through each step from identifying your inner frequency to adjusting it, applying it to health, sleep, life energy, time, and ultimately living in balance to reach the true value of a life well lived. And the reason I chose to share this topic is because so many people out there are busy chasing something outside, forgetting that all the best things can only begin from within. If you do not master your inner world, no external method can truly help you find happiness or stability. Previously, we talked about inner frequency, about how each person emits a certain kind of energy, and that energy is what ultimately shapes every result in their life. And today you will be guided deeper into how to shift that frequency and how to sustain it through specific daily actions. We do not need to learn something grand. What we need is to let go of the noise that has clouded the wisdom already within us. In today's main content, you will clearly see the importance of awareness, how to apply your inner frequency across every area of life, and most importantly, how to reach the balanced wave state, where there is no more chasing after anything, because you already are what you once sought. And don't miss the final part, where I will share the most important insight, the one thing that, if you remember it, could transform how you live, how you love, and how you leave this world. Gently and completely. Have you ever wondered why, on the same day, some people feel everything is beautiful, while others see only the worst in everything? The same event, seen as an opportunity by one person, is viewed as a tragedy by another. We see with our eyes, but we experience through the frequency of our inner vibration. And that is what truly determines the reality each person is living in. Let's take a look at a basic but incredibly important concept. What is matter? A glass, a chair, a building, we call those material things. But matter is actually just a collection of tiny particles invisible to the naked eye. Scientists have proven that all physical objects are made up of energy particles vibrating at specific frequencies. And here is the astonishing part. If the vibration frequency of those particles rises high enough, we can no longer see them, not because they disappear, but because they surpass the limits of our sensory perception. Like Wi-Fi signals, sound waves, or infrared rays, they always exist around us, but we cannot sense them if we do not match their frequency. And if you are still listening, this is the moment when a door begins to open. We, who seem to be living in a very tangible material world, are actually only perceiving what matches our inner frequency. One simple truth that can completely change how you see life: what you do not resonate with, you cannot see or feel, and you call it non-existent. That is why some people never feel happiness, not because happiness does not exist, but because they are not yet vibrating on the same frequency as happiness. You see, happiness is not something external, but something you can only perceive when you are aligned with it. So, I want to ask you this: is happiness material or space? If you can feel it, if you truly sense it in every moment of life, then for you it is material, it is tangible. But if you cannot feel it, then to you it is just empty space, something distant. Like a radio, if you tune to the right frequency, you will hear your favorite music. But if you are slightly off, all you will hear is static. Life works the same way. If you align your inner self to the right frequency, you will catch waves of joy, love, kindness. But if you are off, all you will encounter is exhaustion, blame, and fear. At Inner World Podcast, you do not need to search outward for answers, because everything begins within. And this topic, inner frequency, is the key. If you truly understand and apply it, you will no longer be someone led by circumstance, but the master of your own experience. But wait, we do not just perceive the world, we create the world we live in through our vibration. Imagine a day when you feel grateful. Suddenly, everyone seems kind. Every event seems meaningful. But if you are filled with anger or resentment, the world will seem like it is against you. And this is the foundational principle. The world does not change, only you change. And when you change, the world, through your eyes, also changes. Now you understand why one person sees wonder in the simple, while another feels bored amidst greatness. Science has shown that every emotional state, from anger, jealousy, hurt to love, gratitude, and peace, emits different frequencies. When you remain in a negative state for too long, you not only perceive the world as heavy, you also attract more heaviness into your life. And the opposite is also true. When you maintain a high frequency, like compassion or appreciation, you no longer need to seek good things, because they naturally come to you. You see, understanding your inner frequency helps you live with authenticity in everyday life, with clarity, peace, and self-leadership. I have traveled far in search of peace, but in the end, I realized the most peaceful place is within me. You do not need to have everything to feel abundant. You only need to align with the frequency of abundance, and you already have it all. So if today you feel life is not quite as you hoped, do not rush to blame your circumstances. Instead, turn inward and ask, where is my inner self? What frequency am I vibrating on? Because only when you change your inner frequency can anything outside truly change. We just explored a powerful truth. Your life is not shaped by circumstances, but by the inner frequency you carry every day. And now it is time to ask an important question. How do I know what frequency I am vibrating at? And if I am not satisfied with my current state, how do I change it? The answer is not far. It lies right within the emotions, thoughts, and smallest repeated reactions you experience every day. Because you see, humans do not live by willpower, but by internal habits programmed long ago. You can recognize your inner frequency through 3 levels: negative, positive, and balanced. Each level is not only different in energy, but also in how you see life, behave, and make decisions. Let's start with the negative level. This is the state many people fall into without realizing it. When you are quick to anger, constantly judging, blaming others, or feeling like a victim in every situation, you are emitting a negative frequency. And the sad thing is, this frequency not only causes inner suffering, but it also attracts circumstances, people, and events that match it. That is why one bad event often leads to a series of trouble. It is not fate, it is frequency alignment. Reflect on this with what you have experienced or observed in others, and I believe it will help you recognize this frequency. This is a crucial step in this journey. Next is the positive level. This is when you begin to take more initiative. You feel more gratitude, start taking responsibility for your life. You stop blaming and begin asking, what can I learn from this? When you are at a positive frequency, you start attracting opportunities, uplifting people, and a sense of purpose. But remember, positive is not the highest. The highest is balance. A balanced frequency creates a super high vibration. This is when you no longer try to be positive, you simply are peace. You do not try to do the right thing, you live as the right thing. No more reacting hastily, no more fearing uncertainty. In the balanced state, everything you touch, from work, relationships to health, becomes harmonious and deep. You will clearly sense this frequency when you are around such people. They radiate a rare authenticity and peaceful presence that makes you feel calm just by being near them. But the most beautiful thing is this: you can choose. You can adjust your vibration at any time, like tuning a radio. The question is not, what frequency are you at? But do you want to change it? And this is where many people miss the mark. They want to change their lives, but not their inner world. They want happiness, yet continue complaining. They want peace, but still hold on to bitterness and comparison. Do you see the contradiction? You cannot breathe in a new atmosphere while clinging to your old rhythm. So how do you shift your frequency? The first step is to recognize your inner state as soon as it arises, not to judge, but to observe. When you feel anger, do not suppress it. Pause, take a deep breath, and ask, where is this anger coming from? Is it a learned reaction from someone else? Acknowledge whether it is a negative, positive, or balanced state. The second step is to choose a new frequency and lock it in through specific action. If you want to move into gratitude, write down 3 things you are grateful for each day. If you want to elevate into compassion, try forgiving the smallest thing you are holding on to. Do not wait for the feeling to act. Act first, and the feeling will follow. The third step is to repeat until it becomes a habit. Because every frequency, once repeated, becomes your new nature. You do not need to force yourself to become someone else. You just need to return to the fullness already within you. If you are truly serious about your life, be serious about the frequency you carry each morning. Because that is what shapes your entire day and eventually your entire life. And what matters is this content is not just for listening. It is a roadmap. Inner World Podcast was created not to teach you how to live like someone else, but to remind you that you can live as yourself, at your highest frequency. Each episode, each message is a mirror for the inner world, so you no longer need to search outside. Remember, change within changes everything, and that change is not some mystical event. It is a choice made through every thought, every word, every response each day. And if today you do only one thing, let it be this: choose to shift your inner frequency, even by just 1%. Because you will be amazed how one small inner shift can make the whole world outside feel completely new. Beautiful, isn't it? We have just explored a very important point. You can change your life by changing the vibration frequency of your inner self. But it would be incomplete not to mention one area where the effect of inner vibration becomes most clear and powerful: health. You know, there are people who eat well, exercise regularly, yet always feel tired. And there are others who eat simply, sleep only a few hours, but their spirit is radiant and their body full of energy. Why is that? Because health is not just about diet. It is also about your vibration pattern. The human body, when observed closely in terms of structure, is a combination of 5 elements: earth, water, air, fire, and electricity. And among these 5, the most subtle, yet the one that controls all life, is electricity. In other words, it is the vibrational energy running through every cell in your body. When your inner self is blocked, filled with anger, resentment, fear, the electrical current in your body is also disrupted. You feel heavy, sluggish, and unmotivated. On the other hand, when you are gentle, grateful, loving, that current is restored. Your body lights up. You feel life not only in your thoughts, but in every cell. Someone once asked me, how do I know the level at which my inner self is vibrating? The answer is simple. Just look at your sleep. Do you fall asleep easily? Do you sleep deeply? Do you wake up with a light body and a clear mind? Because sleep, in truth, is not just for resting the body. It is the time when the cell voltage is rebalanced, when the vibration of your inner and physical states realign. If someone cannot sleep deeply, it indicates their inner world is not yet fully released. You see, no one can hide their body for long. The inner and the physical always move together, like a shadow and its form. And one thing you need to remember, the higher your inner frequency, the more sustainable your health. Not because you are healthy, you are positive, but because you are positive, you are healthy. Many modern studies have shown gratitude, forgiveness, and love not only calm the mind, but also activate genes positively in the body. You do not just change your emotions, you change your biology. So, how can you use your inner vibration frequency to improve daily energy? First, reset your energy in the morning. As soon as you wake up, do not reach for your phone. Sit up, take a deep breath, and ask, what frequency do I want to carry into today? That is a choice, and that choice will guide the events of your day. Next, protect your midday energy. When someone says something negative, do not react immediately. Pause, be aware, and if you can, send out a better vibration. Do not allow anyone else to control your frequency, because your frequency is your power. And finally, regenerate your energy at night. Before going to sleep, write down 3 things you are grateful for. Let go of all expectations. Do not carry pain into your sleep because you are planting seeds for tomorrow. Remember this, you do not need to live like someone else, but you must live aligned with your highest frequency. And your health is the clearest sign of whether you are living in alignment or not. Look closely. A weak body often comes with a tired inner world. A healthy person is usually someone who has learned to balance, release, and live with radiant energy. This does not mean you must be immune to suffering, but it means you learn not to hold suffering for too long. Not to let it become the dominant frequency in your life. I want you to remember this. Every cell in your body is listening to what you say to yourself. If you keep saying, I am tired, I am weak, I cannot do it, then your body will believe it. But if you change how you speak, you will change your frequency. And when you change your frequency, you will change your entire state of living. And that is also the reason I chose to share this topic on Inner World Podcast. Because this is not just another episode, it is a map for your return. An invitation to live differently, starting today. You know, if there is one thing modern people always feel they lack, it is not money nor love, but time. How many times have you sighed, I do not have time, I wish there were 2 more hours in the day? But the interesting truth is, everyone has the same 24 hours a day. The difference is not in the amount, but in how you experience time through your inner vibration frequency. And here begins a new awareness. You may have heard of the sixth sense. In reality, there is an even more subtle sense, the perception of time. When you fall into a low-frequency state, anger, anxiety, fear, time seems to drag on. On becomes as heavy as an hour. But when you are in a state of connection, creativity, love, an hour passes like a few minutes, yet you accomplish so much. So, is time real or just a subjective feeling? In truth, time is not a fixed line from past through present to future, as we learn. Instead, time is a dimension of space through which you navigate experiences based on the frequency you emit. Or to put it another way, time is not measured by the clock, but by the quality of vibration you live in each moment. And this is truer than ever when you deeply understand your inner frequency. When you live at a high frequency, you not only feel time pass quickly, but you use it more efficiently, with higher productivity, not because you do more tasks, but because you are fully present in each task, not distracted, not clouded by emotions, not caught in negative spirals. Some people live 80 years, yet never truly live. They merely exist, going through each day with repeated routines and an old inner world. Meanwhile, others live only 30 years, yet every day is filled with color value and deep connection because they live on a high-frequency wave. It is not living longer that matters, but living deeper that matters. And the most important thing I want to share with you today, when you are on a high-frequency wave, you are not controlled by time. You master time. You no longer worry, am I in time, because you live in wholeness. You no longer rush to keep up with others because you understand your own rhythm is unique and no one else can live it for you. When you are caught in a low frequency, you easily dwell in the past, regret what has passed. You also become fearful of the future, thinking about what has not come. Yet when you lift yourself into the high wave, you return to the present moment, and there you touch the most beautiful truth of life. Remember that the present moment never repeats, but if you live it fully, you never need to live again. That sentence changed how I use time. If you truly want to expand time, expand your living frequency. Step away from useless urgency and return to each breath, each action, each word, as if it were the most important thing you have ever done. I share this not as theory, but because I see it true in my own life and in thousands of stories of people who thought they were no longer young, out of sync, or too late to change. But once they changed one thing, their living frequency, time, became a companion, not a pursuing enemy. You do not need more time. You need more depth in each moment. And that depth does not come from outside, it comes from within you. You can turn 1 minute into a full lifetime if you are fully present. And you can lose an entire year if you live in an outdated, repeated frequency. So if there is one thing worth investing in, it is not finance, fame, or skills, but your living frequency, the thing that shapes how you see time, how you feel time, and turns it into your most precious asset. I want you to remember this high frequency creates deep impact, and deep impact helps you live more in less time. And if today you choose only one thing to change, choose to live with deeper frequency in each moment. Because you will be surprised how that one small change can make you younger, healthier, more at peace, and more fulfilled each day. So we have journeyed together through identifying, adjusting, and mastering the vibration frequency of your inner self, from understanding the structure of matter to how frequency affects emotions, health, sleep, and even the experience of time. You can see this is not merely a spiritual concept, it is the root of every life experience. And as I shared before, time no longer becomes an enemy when you live on your true frequency. But just like time, life does not wait for anyone. It simply reflects back the frequency you emit. Now take a moment of stillness. Ask yourself, what frequency am I living in? Am I living by old reflexes in a negative energy environment where everything repeats, stagnates, and lacks vitality? Or am I living like a proactive person, emitting bright energy and thus attracting positive things toward me? Because you know not everyone who lives long carries positive energy. In fact, most of us see them living with negative energy. And not everyone who smiles is truly at peace. True living does not lie in appearance, but in the frequency at which you vibrate each day. Some people believe they must change their environment, job, or even company to live better. But the truth is simple. You do not need to change the world. You only need to change your inner vibration frequency, and the world will change accordingly. I know this may sound too simple, and we often doubt things that sound too simple. But just consider a radio. If it is off by a tiny notch, you only hear static. But when it is tuned correctly, the music plays. Life works the same. You do not need to create happiness. Happiness has always existed. The issue is whether you can tune into that frequency. Dear friend, stop chasing. Start sinking internally. Because from that deepest place within, all the answers, all the peace, all the opportunities are born. You do not need more degrees or another teacher if you have not learned to master your own inner world. Look back at the emotions you carry each day. They are the vibration frequency signals you emit. If you carry hurry, you attract chaos. If you carry resentment, you attract pain. But if you carry gratitude, you open the door to abundance. If you carry peace, you create space for all the good to come in. You see, living on a high frequency does not mean you must always be joyful. It means you have agency over whatever arises. When bad things happen, you do not collapse. When good things happen, you do not become arrogant. You maintain a gentle mindfulness, seeing that everything that happens has a reason, a lesson, and can be transformed into material to raise your frequency. That is the true power of a mature human being. And if today you still feel your life is missing something, maybe what is missing is not on the outside, but an internal sink. Because when you truly live fully from within, you no longer need more. You will begin to give more. You will find being present, listening, loving, helping are all natural joys. Because at that point you no longer seek, you have become what you were seeking. I want you to remember one important conclusion. Inner change renews everything. And all here does not only mean results, achievements, or relationships, but your very perception of each day you live. If you feel ready to begin this journey, start with the simplest thing. Observe your inner frequency in this moment. Without judgment, without resistance. Just observe, and from there choose a higher frequency and hold fast to it. Because I believe if you do this every day, you will no longer have to ask, how do I change my life? Because you will realize you have changed already, beginning from within. Do you remember we just said change within means change everything? But someone may ask, what is the optimal wave a human can reach? How is enough truly enough? The answer does not lie in extreme positivity, in fake optimism, or forcing yourself to always be happy. The answer lies in a state higher than all of them: balance. Let me explain this. If negative frequency is where we react with negativity, blame, and anger, and positive frequency is where we begin to take initiative with gratitude, love, then balanced frequency is not a mix of the two, but a transcendence above both. Balance does not mean being mediocre. Balance is when your inner self stands firm, unaffected by any polarity. When praise arrives, you smile. When criticism comes, you stay humble. When failure knocks, you do not collapse. In balanced frequency, you are no longer reactive, but become an awakened observer. You do not act out of fear of loss, but act out of willingness to give. No need to prove, no need to stand out. You simply become yourself in the most natural and relaxed way. You know, many people think living in balance is boring. But the truth is, only in balance does true wisdom arise. When emotions no longer lead you, you see the true nature of every issue. You don't just solve situations, you solve the root causes within them. Everyone has emotions, but not everyone has wisdom. And wisdom does not come from books, but from balanced frequency. The more tranquil a person is, the deeper they are. The more they let go, the clearer they become. Because wisdom is not in the head, but in the stillness of the heart. Have you ever met someone and felt they have this balanced frequency? If you felt it then, you have already taken a major step toward true wisdom, where balanced frequency always exists. And you may ask, how do I know if I am living in balance? The clearest sign is you begin to feel peace. No burdens in thought, no inner struggles in decisions, no fear of being wrong or needing to be right. Everything becomes simple, streamlined, and easy. You begin to choose what is right, not because it is forced or uncomfortable, but because it feels natural. You no longer need to be better than anyone else, because nothing seems worth that competition. You see value not in having, but in becoming. And then you begin to touch a form of freedom that money can never buy: inner freedom. You see, balanced frequency does not make you stand out, but makes you grounded. It does not create noise, but brings silent strength. It does not require recognition, but makes you absolutely trustworthy. And you know, in a world full of upheaval, people with balanced inner worlds are the ones everyone seeks. Because amid hundreds of reactive, anxious, and chaotic people, just one person standing still becomes a pillar. So how can I live at that frequency every day? The answer does not lie in meditating 10 hours a day or reading dozens of books, but in observing and adjusting your inner self moment by moment. When you realize you start to be jealous, angry, or deluded, return to your breath. When you notice yourself comparing, return to sufficiency. When you feel the urge to compete, ask, does this make me more at ease? And if you practice that every day, not perfectly, but consistently, you will gradually become someone living on the wave of wisdom. No more wavering, no more chasing, no more losing direction. That is the final destination of the journey to raising your inner frequency. Not to make you better than others, but to bring you back to your truest self in your fullest version. And that is also why I created this series on Inner World Podcast, because in a world pushing you to go faster, I just want to remind you sometimes what you need is not to accelerate, but to pause, breathe deeply, and return inward. Because within you there is always a wave that, when reached, makes you need nothing more. Because everything you ever desired, you already are. Once you have stepped into the frequency of wisdom, where the mind is no longer swayed by praise, criticism, comparison, or fear, you begin to ask yourself, so ultimately, why am I living? No longer caught up in numbers, achievements, or external acclaim, you start to see one thing clearly. The most precious thing in life is not having more, but knowing and living fully as yourself. You can do many things, travel to many places, learn many things, but if when you return you still feel empty, then perhaps you have forgotten the real reason you started. And that reason is to return to the deepest essence of yourself, where you do not need to act, play a role, or pretend. A life of value is not a life of more, but a life of more right. Right for your heart. Right for the values you choose. Right for the frequency your soul wishes to emit. But the sad thing is, many people live their whole life without ever living truly as themselves. They live according to others' hopes, social expectations, and fear of failure. And at the end of their life, their regret is not that they did not do enough, but that they did not live enough as themselves. You know, the highest frequency of a person is not achievement, but the serenity when you no longer need anything to prove. When you no longer need to win over anyone, compare with anyone, you begin to live with natural sincerity. You do not need to be called great, but you will live in a way that is memorable. You do not need fame, but you touch the hearts of others because you live truthfully. When you do the truth, you do not have to do it again. When you speak the truth, you will not have to speak truth again. And when you live the truth, you will not have to live it again. And that is the core of Inner World Podcast, where you are not encouraged to do more, but invited to live more truthfully. Because in the end, you will not carry any title, only the quality of each day you have lived. That quality is not in a busy schedule, but in the moments you truly connect with someone. It is not in reasoning, but in the moment you realize a simple thing that makes your heart resonate. It is not in the words you speak, but in the energy you leave behind after you leave. Remember, you cannot judge a tree by the number of leaves it sheds, but by the fruit it leaves behind. Humans are the same. The value of a life lies not in the quantity of experiences, but in the quality of vibration they bring to each experience. How have you lived so that others feel lighter after meeting you? How have you lived so that every place you pass through becomes brighter? How have you lived so that you do not chase the light, but become that light? If not, then it is not too late. Because this journey, the journey back to your original wave, where sincerity, peace, freedom, wisdom resides, always begins from the moment you choose. The choice to live mindfully, even if the world remains lost. The choice to live kindly, even when surrounded by competition. The choice to keep your inner world pure, even if it makes you different. You know, people living at a high frequency never need to say that I am at a high frequency, because you feel it through every look, gesture, and word. And the miracle is, you too can become such a person if you start today. And if all I have shared in this series leaves you with only one thing, let it be this: the value of a life does not lie in where you arrive, but in the vibration you sow with each step. That is precisely why I created this series on Inner World Podcast, to awaken the truth already within you. Not to point you outward, but to lead you back inside, where wisdom and freedom always await. Live so that each day is the clearest expression of the frequency you choose. Live so that you do not need to do more to feel valuable, but only need to live more genuinely to feel complete. Because living wisely is living truly, and living truly is living memorably. Dear friend, if you have accompanied me to the final moments of this journey, I believe something within you has been touched. Perhaps it is a gentle awakening, a deep silence, or simply an "oh, so that is it" moment. And sometimes just one "oh" moment is enough to start a new way of life. We have spoken about the vibration frequency of the inner self, about health, time, wisdom, and the true value of a life. But please remember, knowledge only has value when it is truly lived, and real transformation does not come from hearing a lot, but from daring to turn inward and live in alignment with the frequency you choose. I do not expect you to believe everything I have shared. I only hope you experience it, because truth, if it is truth, will stand firmly without needing protection. And if what you receive today helps you live more deeply and peacefully, that is the clearest proof. And if you find value in what I share, I have a small invitation for you. Consider before you press like, subscribe, or share. Do not do it out of habit, but do it as a conscious action, as a way you contribute to spreading awakened frequency into this world. Because perhaps someone out there just needs a single segment of this video to help them through a hard day, or beyond a turning point in life. And if you are the one sowing that seed, then you have done something truly meaningful. I am Liam Johnson, and you are listening to Inner World Podcast. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to accompany you on the journey into your inner world, the only place you can truly find yourself.